Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a YouTube deck tech for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comment section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you might have. I'll also leave a link to my Discord down below. It's a great place to drop a deck list off and have me work on it. Today we are continuing with the secrets of Strixhaven commanders. There's a lot of pretty interesting ones that I'm excited about. Killian is either first or second place for things I'm most excited about from this new set. I enjoyed the first Killian Ink Duelist, which is also in here. A extremely budget-friendly commander, by the way. But this one is Killian Decisive Mentor. It's Orzhov, colorless white black for a 2/3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, tap up to one target creature and goad it. Whenever one or more creatures that are enchanted by an aura you control attack, draw a card. So obviously this is a enchantment heavy deck, but the interesting part and the part that I think's dynamic uh, from most other enchantment decks is instead of just building a giant wall of your own enchantments and playing like SRAM or something like that, making your commander really, really big and trying to end the game as quickly as possible. This is a little bit more of a tricky type commander where you're handing out enchantments to different creatures and different people on the battlefield. You can get card draw out of it. You can goad these creatures. So you are introducing a lot more variables and a lot more chaos to the game. So if you want to play an enchantment style deck, but you don't want to go the traditional route of all in on my SRAM and try to end the game as fast as possible, which a lot of people don't really like playing alongside or with that, this might be a better alternative where you have a little bit more chaos. You get to play a little bit more interesting enchantments, some that don't see play super often, and I just think it presents itself as a extremely unique and fun commander. So we only play 13 creatures, not many are necessary here. They all pretty much serve the same purpose. They're either going to get us advantage off casting enchantments, they're going to cast enchantments for us, or they're going to help us do so. And then obviously, um, I just snuck a Sun Titan in there because I really love Sun Titan. But anyways, Armored Sky Hunter lets us look at the top 6 and get an enchantment. Codsworth lets us cast them. Iriet will drain and gain, and then each creature that's attached by an aura you control can't attack you or a planeswalker, so it's kind of like infinite goading in a way. Killian already mentioned, but I think Killian's awesome. Spells you cast at target creature cost 2 less, so it makes all your enchantments cost 2 less. And then, like I said, if you're interested in going the more traditional enchantment, build up my own creature route, I think Killian is extremely budget friendly. You could probably get a pretty impressive deck for, probably 30 to 40 bucks, to be honest. Core Spirit Dancer for card draw, Light Paws for card advantage as well, Mesa Enchantress, more of the same, as well as Pearl Ears. Scriv is a new card coming out. Flying Death Touch. Whenever it enters or attacks, create a white enchantment token named Contract attached to target creature and opponent controls. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 if it's attacking your opponent. Otherwise, its controller loses 2 life. So, pretty interesting card. I don't think it's going to be super impressive, but with newer cards, I want to put them in here just to at least give them a try before I decide to cut them. Shay Cormac, interesting because you can pay the 1 to have permanents your opponents control lose hexproof, indestructible, protection, shroud, and ward until end of turn. So this will circumvent things like lightning greaves and swiftfoot boots and all the other ways that your opponents will try to protect their own creatures. And you can simply negate all that and still attach these creatures that you want to with auras and enchantments that say this creature's goaded, this creature can't attack you, or whatnot. SRAM for card draw, Sun Titan because I love Sun Titan and I usually sneak them into every white deck that I can. And then Umbra Mystic to give all of our auras totem armor. So obviously we do have to end the game, just simply forcing our opponents to goad all their creatures until the end of time works until you get down to a 1v1. But what I can say with a lot of confidence is one of my personal friends in my friend group who plays a goading deck. It's low key very very strong. It feels innocuous because it's like that person isn't necessarily a threat throughout the game. They're not doing anything that really is impactful. They're just incentivizing you to attack other people. So it almost feels like nothing really bad is going to happen. But then all of a sudden you look over and they have a massive board state. They have total control of the game, and it's in a 1v1 situation where goading doesn't matter anymore. And by then it's kind of just too late and they're able to take you out of the game as well. So I think goading is secretly a very, very powerful mechanic and one that should be abused more in Commander. I don't think many people take advantage of it. Sorceries, we have four, a couple of board wipes, Dam, and then Winds of Wrath, and then we also have Promise of Loyalty, which is kind of a board wipe and kind of a, the vow counters are obviously incentivizing people to attack others as well. Retether to buy stuff back. Instance, we have a few ways to protect our own stuff going on. Dawn's Truce, Flawless Maneuver, Not Dead After All these can help protect our commander and protect our permanents. Deadly Rollick, just because it's good. Flawless Maneuver, we went over. Ink Shield is an interesting one. Sometimes this card sucks, sometimes this card is incredible. I've never really seen an in-between with it, but you're playing a white-black deck, why not give it a chance to shine? The times where it is incredible, it is very, very funny, so obviously that adds a little bit of allure to playing it as well. Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares, pretty common use removal. Artifacts, we have 8 pieces of ramp here: Arcane Signet, Charcoal Diamond, Felwar Stone, Marble Diamond, Orzhov Signet, Soul Rain, Talisman, Thought Vessel. So normally we play 10 in most of our decks. I don't think that's necessary here. Your commander only costs 3, and if we scroll down and look at the overall curve of your deck, it pretty much tops out at 3. So if you can get to 4, 5, 6 mana, you can start double spelling every turn. And at that point, you don't really need, 8, 9, 10 lands on the battlefield like some green based decks might want or something like that. So I don't think it's necessary for us to play 10, and I would be perfectly happy operating this deck with 6 mana the entire game. We have Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots to protect our own. Enchantments, obviously this section's massive. We're playing 29 enchantments, pretty much a third of the deck. So these, I'm not going to go over every single one, but what I will say is we're trying to accomplish a couple different goals. One, we want these enchantments to benefit us in some way, whether that be drawing us cards, goading other people's creatures. Um, we could also pump up our own creatures. So like I said, we do have to win the game at some point. So we do have that win condition of putting something like ethereal armor on our Killian and starting to actually finish the game off. And then we also have ways to kind of protect enchantments. So as far as ways to actually end the game, we have all that glitters. We have ethereal armor. Gift of Immortality can be really nice for protecting your own. Mantle of the Ancients to buy stuff back. We also have Sage's Reverie to pump something up. Shielded by Faith, Songbirds Blessing, Spirit Mantle. These are the cards that I would say more often than not you're actually going to be just putting on Killian or one of your own creatures to try to push forward and end the game. These are not the ones that you're enchanting other people's things with. As far as advantage, you have things like Black Market Connections, things to buy you time like Ghostly Prison, Greater Auramancy. You also have land tax for, just helping smooth out your land drops. Phyrexian Arena, Sphere of Safety. A lot of these do a good job at buying you time and disincentivizing the table from messing with you. And then obviously a ton of ways to enchant other people's creatures and incentivize them or force them to attack each other. Changing Loyalty, Coercive Impetus, Darksteel Mutation, Eye of Nidhogg, Ghoulish Impetus. We also have Martial Impetus, Parasitic Impetus. Impetus is in a lot of these cards, I'm realizing. Sheltered by Ghost, Shielded by Faith, Spirit Loop. Timely Ward, Vampiric Rites, Vow, 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 all the ones that goad other people's creatures permanently. So again, I think it's pretty innocuous to play Goad overall. Not many people have tried it. I highly recommend you give this a try. See for yourself how powerful it is. This deck obviously looks expensive on paper, but I think you can reduce the cost by a considerable amount if you are just a little bit more picky about your choices. You don't need things like Deadly Rollick here, and obviously, you know, cutting $25 from your list in one card is going to reduce the cost pretty quickly. I'm playing 36 lands. I don't think 37 is necessary, and I also don't think any of these lands are particularly interesting or necessary either. Hall of Heliod's Generosity is probably the only one that I would say is non-negotiable. Everything else, just play with what you have, build up over time. Don't worry about the mana base. It's 2 colors. It's not difficult. If you really want to, just play half swamps, half plains, and a command tower, an exotic orchard, and you're ready to rumble. But overall, as I said, I think this is probably the first or second most excited I am for commanders out of Secrets of Strixhaven. I think this is going to end up being very powerful and might be the commander that makes me change what I personally am using and maybe have to add it to my repertoire. So give it a try. Let me know how it plays out. And as always, Godspeed.